Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's G here. So I wanted to I think this is going to be an interesting discussion. Okay, I want to talk about so I was in a bit of a debate with this guy online, and he made this comment to me because he was talking about interracial couples. He was a black guy, and he made this comment to me that I'd never had sex with a white woman, so I didn't know how good it was, right? So I was like, well, first of all, you don't know who I've had sex with. That's first. Second, what? So I want to talk about today, is sex in an interracial relationship more intense than same ethnicity sex? Now, guys, subscribe to my channel. I have some theories on this discussion. We're about to get comfortable in this one. So, subscribe and let's have this conversation. Guys, now this is something that I have heard so many times, and a lot of times from black men, that having sex with white women is just better. It's just more good. I don't know. It's interesting because when I talk to black women about having sex with other ethnicities of men, they have a variety of nuanced experiences, right? And I'm talking about women who have also been with black men. So it's interesting. Here's the thing, and this is, I think some of this can probably be relatable to a lot of us, if we're honest. Honesty with ourselves is also something we have to practice, right? So when this guy told me about this whole thing about, you know, the sexual intensity with white women, the most disturbing part for me wasn't really that he felt this way. The disturbing thing was that he was using it as a justification to use white women for sex. Now, I'm like, okay, that was my problem more than anything else. So I don't want you guys to think I care who people are having sex with. When he told me this, I was like, it makes sense to me that it's more intense for you. There's a couple reasons, and some of it is mental and emotional, right? I think this probably plays out for people who are really, who really do think whiteness is superior, right? Like, and there are people of color who think that. So can you imagine the mental emotional release when you find the ability to have sex with someone you think is better than you? And a lot of times people see sex as a degrading thing. They see it as this thing that they're doing to someone versus something that they're having a partnership with, enjoy, and they're actually more focused on their own pleasure in these situations. So yeah, that makes sense, right? So like, that's one aspect of it. I think the deeper aspects of it is like our socializing and our upbringing, and I think that it is also the continued socialization of black women who should not be in control of their sexuality. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to use some examples, and you hopefully you can, you know, see where I'm coming from. Now, if we talk about hoes, okay, we get a lot of people who say black women are this, that, and the other in regards to sex. Like, they're more promiscuous, they have more partners, they're this, that, and the other. And they are judged very harshly on that. And a lot of it, I don't know, I don't necessarily think a lot of it's true, because when men are talking about having sex with black women, they're saying they don't suck penis, right? They're saying they won't do tricks. So it's, you can't have it both ways. Like, either black women are more open to all of these things in a general sense, or they're a little more reserved. Okay. Now, I know growing up personally, I was told not to do a lot of things, right? That it would mean that I was being disrespected if I allowed men to perform certain acts, to do certain sexual things, or if I did certain sexual, it would be like degrading to myself. Okay. And I think a lot of women, black women, are like taught like these very specific rules, right? And it's reinforced, right? We see it all the time being reinforced in society. Whereas I don't think that many white women have that same kinds of pressure and upbringing. And I'm going to show an example because I have a few, but I'm going to show this one specifically. So let's talk about Kim Kardashian versus Sierra. Now, Kim Kardashian became very famous for who she dated and things she did and sex tapes, okay? Now, by all intents and purposes, she fits the descriptions that people talk about a loose woman, right? She's had multiple high-profile partners. She has been, you know, sexualized by men in ways that most people would call degrading to her, okay? But she was able to become a housewife. She was somebody who, I don't use this word to describe people, but based on society's definitions of a woman who has had her behavior, they would call her a hoe, right? That's what they would say very easily if she were looked like me, right? Now, Sierra, she is a performer. She is a musician. She is no different than, like, you know, Beyonce or something out there who is dancing and singing as part of her career. That's what I mean. She had a child with a very promiscuous man who has multiple children with different women. And then she went on to have a loving, caring relationship with another man. She's had children with him. They seem very settled. But people can't let her past with this one dude go. They call him all kinds of terrible things because he is with this woman and she had a child with this man who's very promiscuous. It's her fault somehow, and she is forever called a hoe based on how she dressed. Currently, because she has a husband, she should be more demure and shameful because of something, right? Like some weird social expectation is applied to her very, very differently than it was applied to another woman, right? Now, I use Kim Kardashian as an example, not only because she's a white woman who dates interracially pretty regularly, right? And a lot of these associations that she had in the past were with black men, right? But she became a housewife. Technically, she had children with someone, and her past was rarely brought up. Her goods are more often talked about than anything else. Now, she appropriates blackness, which is why I use her as an example. Now, despite her proximity and appropriation to black culture and black women and their look and style, she is still not burdened with the expectations that most black women have in regards to their sexuality and how they need to present themselves. So you can imagine now, as a black man who is with a woman who does not have that pressure in society, even from him, her sexual partner, okay? He's putting that ideologies and pressure because you know what? He could do all the nasty things to this woman if she was a black woman and then go and tell everybody in the world that she's an awful human because she let him do these things, or she enjoyed it, or she initiated it, or whatever. Now she's held to a whole different standard. So why wouldn't you be more reserved, knowing that if I want to be a wife or be considered valuable, I can't necessarily express myself fully. Now, we have heard stories of, politicians' wives who have really strange passes, done all kinds of things, but they were able to move past that and be, like, those were my teenage years, those were my college years, those were, my wild time is over, now I'm a proper lady. They get to do that. That is not necessarily common amongst just us regular black women. Now, of course, there's the flip side. Black women having sex with non-black men, is it more intense? So again, this is the thing that I have heard some black women say, and I'm saying this knowing that, I say this knowing that, and we all know that most women, 80% of women, do not have orgasm from penetration. Okay, so they need something else. They need something more. They need some low, right? Now, if you are able to express more to your partner and your partner doesn't have this hang up about you, that you have to be a certain way in order to receive his respect and love outside of your sexual relationship, can you imagine how much more open you might be, and the ability to of a partner who is willing to go a little further to satisfy you? Now, I think it's not necessarily just based on ethnicity, but when we see the social aspects, it starts to make sense why some of these people feel this way, feel that they have more intense sex with someone of another ethnicity, because they're not judging them based on their idea of what that their own ethnicity, the female counterparts in their own ethnicity should or should not be doing, and they're not being judged in the same way. And in some instances, they don't have to try as hard to satisfy someone else when they're focused on just satisfying themselves. And that woman, we know that women often leave sexual experiences unsatisfied. So if that woman's less willing to say, maybe be less angry in other forms or fashion, it all starts to work out. I do think there's more to some of the sexuality between interracial couples, especially between black men and white women. I think there's more to it. We can't talk about it all in one video because we know there's so many topics, so many things to say. So what I would say personally, have I had more intense relations with people outside of blackness? Well, I have never subscribed to the things that people have said I should subscribe to. So I am the type of person that is always gonna get mine. I don't know about you. I ain't gonna worry about you. Not all the time. But me, I'm gonna turn up. Subscribe to my channel, and guys, let's have this discussion some more in the comments. I'm sure you guys have stuff to tell me. So like, share, and comment below, and I will definitely respond and talk to the people who make sense. If you don't make sense, I will not respond to you. All right, ciao for now.